I woke up, and my entire garden looked like it had died once over. Leaves were dazzlingly green, but the soil had cracked, hardened, and lifeless. I could almost hear it screaming. I opened a bag of fertilizer, scattered it, watered everything, thinking I had saved it. Weeks later, the leaves stood tall, colors vibrant. But then, the scorching sun hit, and the next crop came up weaker than the last. I started doubting myself. Did I plant too early? Pick the wrong variety? Or do I just not have a green thumb? The truth is harsh. The system I inherited keeps the plants looking good, while the soil underneath is collapsing. Soft soil turns brittle. Tomatoes wilt by noon. Carrot roots stop growing. Seedlings yellow, worms disappear, and during heavy rains, beds turn into slick mud. This isn't laziness or ignorance. It is the illusion created by chemical fertilizers, temporarily saving the plants, while underground work crews, like microbes and worms, steadily decline. Each harvest strips the soil bare, leaving behind only mineral crumbs. No water retention, no air, no resilience. The problem goes far beyond one disappointing crop. This explains rising vegetable prices, fragile supply chains, bland food, and increasingly extreme weather. We treat fertility as a commodity rather than a relationship. When shelves are empty, storms destroy fields, or inputs spike. Most people realize they were never truly standing on secure ground. Even experienced home gardeners can fail, following instructions to the letter. Loosen soil, fertilize, sow, watch a brief burst of growth. Then, hit the same wall next season. Clay beds suffocate, sandy beds thirst, tired beds remain tired. Dead soil isn't absolute death. It is hunger, depletion, and overuse. Broken biological connections. It is expected to produce, but never rebuilt. Exposed, compacted, mined, treated, it sends constant warning signals. Weeds go crazy. Vegetables struggle, water pools, roots stay shallow. Beds need ongoing intervention and remain mediocre. This isn't personal failure. The decline is slow enough to seem normal. One season weaker, add more fertilizer, plant again next year thinking it'll get better. Until one day you realize you're spending more, watering more, fixing more problems, and harvesting less. The soil no longer buffers heat, stores water, or cycles nutrients. So, if your beds are tired, plants droop, soil lifeless, remember, the problem isn't that you can't garden. It is that you inherited methods that only treat symptoms. Any repair before recognizing the fundamental collapse is expensive, temporary, and disappointing. Almost no one tells you this. When you grab a bag labeled premium, soil, or balanced nutrition, it seems to save the plants. Leaves swell, stems straighten. But that brief vigor quietly snaps the trap shut. Most people are taught to clear beds down to bare soil. Loosen, spread chemical fertilizer, weeds appear, spray. Topsoil crusts, so you buy compost, liquid fertilizers, enhancers, active soil. The soil was never truly empty. It should have been connected by fungal networks, teeming with bacteria, worms, springtails, and decomposers, maintaining pores, water, and air. The cruel truth, supposed solutions often worsen the damage. Chemical fertilizers let plants grow fast without microbial exchange. Fungi lose function, bacterial balance is disrupted, organic matter disappears, and soil food webs weaken. Tilling deceives twice, seeming soft while breaking aggregates and fungal networks, exposing dormant weed seeds, oxidizing underground carbon. The next rain leaves the beds denser. Truly fertile soil doesn't produce because it is controlled. It produces because it is alive. When life disappears, costs are everywhere. More watering because soil can't hold moisture. That is why chemically farmed, mechanically compacted land feels cursed. Yellowing seedlings, water pooling or disappearing, roots hitting hard layers. Beds almost never soft, just dead gray or sticky clay. Miracle bagged soil is just camouflage. Life isn't a label, it is a process. Roots feed microbes, microbes feed plants. Fungi extend root reach. Residues turn into humus, hold water, support more life. What looks like dead soil on the surface is really a shattered workplace. Workers are missing, tunnels collapsed, roofs exposed. You're forcing crops to grow on ruins. Beds crust dry, puddle under rain, dig down, and they're like bricks. Fertility comes from roots constantly rebuilding underground structure. Not metaphorically. Imagine leaving rye and alfalfa cover in winter, instead of bare soil. Underground, crucial changes happen. Fine roots like rebar pierce the topsoil. They feed bacteria sugars, keep fungal networks alive through winter. Worms follow the food. Water flows through channels. Feeding the soil has a mechanism. Living roots secrete sugars. Microbes gather, fungi and bacteria exchange minerals and carbon. In spring, beds are darker, looser, easier to work. Compacted soil can be repaired. Fava beans grow thick taproots, pierce hard soil, open paths for air and water. Dead roots decompose, leaving vertical tubes. Rainwater slides in, and future crop roots follow. Next season, tomatoes no longer struggle in a closed layer, but enter a pre-built network. Legume root nodule, bacteria, convert atmospheric nitrogen into plant-usable form. Plants cooperate with microbes. Fertility cycles back into the soil. Fast-growing mustard leaves decompose, returning organic matter. Compounds suppress pests. Worms drag residues. Dead roots leave pores. Water and air are retained, making space for the next roots. Restoring soil doesn't need expensive products. It needs continuous work. Biological cover, fallen leaves, carbon layers, and time. Lay down cardboard, leaves, weeds, semi-composted matter. Add some water, and just step away. A few weeks later, the beds come back to life. Deep-rooted plants are drills, nutrient elevators, negotiation tools with underground life. Herbs, like alfalfa in the bud stage, are perfect. Roots reach depths that shallow vegetables simply cannot. They pull up minerals, leaves clipped for mulch, or just placed near the soil surface. Buds silently produce massive foliage, worth more than most fertilizers. Once understood, the whole strategy shifts, no longer asking what to add this weekend to force growth, but what interventions can I stop to let life restore itself? Every affirmative lets the system run itself without extra inputs. In times of expensive food and fragile supply, this is revolutionary. Soil restoration doesn't start with buying things. It starts by rejecting the must-import fertility script. Step 1 is cardboard, leaves, weeds, and clipped leaves. Retain the water and reduce your losses. As loss decreases, life slowly accumulates. It is slow, subtle, but highly effective. Cover, clip, lay, wait, and watch the land rebuild itself. The real payoff isn't July tomatoes looking pretty. It is freedom from the system and rising prices. Fertilizer shortages, empty shelves, shipping delays, water restrictions. You finally have absolutely no anxiety. The chemical path breeds dependency, starting each season with purchases. A living soil system shifts that dependency entirely. You grow, store humus, structure, fungi, and water retention. Root paths, worm castings, and saving your own seeds. That is true resilience. Dark, non-crusting soil after rain. Beds holding water through hot weeks. Deep, rather than stalled roots. It means easier cultivation, year after year. In cold areas, choose winter-hardy species. In small yards, rebuild one bed per season. On a tight budget, one seed packet beats a vanished shopping list. Power isn't controlling nature. It is gaining freedom from a fragile food chain. Air, rain, sun, and plant roots convert to fertility, you finally step out of the trap. It is slow, sure, imperfect, but very tangible. Soil soft as cake, crops standing without crying for help, and your bills are significantly lower. So, if your soil is dead, it is bad news, but it is not a life sentence, it is a negotiation. A few patient seasons buy years of productivity. When panic hits and shelves empty, you live in a different reality. Not scrambling for the last head of lettuce, but walking to your rebuilt backyard and cold beds, checking the root cellar, pantry, and harvesting real food. This isn't a hobby or a rural side gig. It is household food sovereignty, a forgotten human skill. Industrial systems taught us to forget it. With this skill comes dignity, not helplessness. The question isn't whether green manure can fix dead soil. It is whether you'll remain a collapsed client, or if you will become a resilient producer. This season, you can take one low-cost action to reclaim control. What will you do first?